Page 3 now, the long, slow, but steady battle to end abortion. In Oklahoma, minor adjustments are being made to the bill passed by the state legislature, but vetoed by the governor.
This is the Holocaust of our generation. This is the slavery of our generation. This is the sin of our era.
And it's those strong beliefs that keep Pastor Paul Blair of Fairview Baptist Church fighting to end abortion. In fact, 1552 was his idea. And even though the governor vetoed it, he's not deterred.
So this is the legal killing of preborn children, and it shouldn't be. It's certainly morally wrong, and it shouldn't be legally right in our state or any other.
Blair tells KOCO 5 News they have their work cut out for them this upcoming legislative session.
We're going to address the slight critiques that Governor Fallin had with our bill this last year.
Now, Governor Fallin said she vetoed the measure because it was vaguely worded and she thought it would not survive a legal challenge. All right, so if they make the changes to strengthen the bill, will she sign it? If the governor does, of course, it will be challenged in court. However, there are armies of attorneys waiting to help litigate on the side of life. Joining me now from Orlando, Florida, Vice President of Legal Affairs and Chief Litigation Counsel at the Liberty Counsel, Horatio Mihet. Harry, do you buy the governor's explanation? Let's face it, this was a brave and bold move by the legislature of Oklahoma. Do you agree with the governor's assessment that this piece of legislation would not have survived a legal challenge?
I don't, Graham. It was, in fact, a brave and bold move by the legislature, and it was a cowardly act by a supposedly pro-life governor who should have had the convictions of her beliefs and should have signed this bill into law. What she did was a betrayal of the pro-life movement and a betrayal of the Oklahoman people, and I hope that she reconsiders the next time this sensible constitutional bill comes before her desk.
All right, you folks at the Liberty Counsel, before she vetoed the bill, you came forward and you said, hey, we will help you defend this legislation. I don't know if you're doing it pro bono or what, but I know that you've come forward. So do you still have that offer on the table?
Absolutely. A pro bono defense at no cost to the taxpayers of Oklahoma. We would come in and we would ensure that this law would be upheld.
So where do you go with this when you're litigating an item like this? Obviously, Roe v. Wade is the centerpiece for everything that the pro-abortion lobby will throw at you in court. But when you look at Roe v. Wade, and I do as a layperson, not an attorney, I see a Supreme Court ruling. I don't see a piece of legislation. I don't see a law. So it kind of reminds me of the outrageous decision by this Supreme Court on gay marriage, foisting gay marriage in every state in this union. There is no piece of legislation that technically legalizes abortion, is there?
That's right. You know, Roe v. Wade was decided 43 some odd years ago, before 3D sonograms, before 4D sonograms. Science has advanced in such a way since then that now there is no doubt. We all know scientifically now what our consciences told us 43 years ago, which is that life inside the mother's womb is a human life capable of feeling pain and capable of being snuffed out and killed. And so you have this sensible piece of legislation that comes under the constitutional power of the state to regulate the medical profession and medical licensing, and you simply have the state telling the doctors that they must hold fast to their Hippocratic oath, which is to first do no harm. I think Roe v. Wade, if it were to be looked at again by today's court, based on today's science, we would reach a very, very different result.
There's also a matter of states' rights here, and I don't know how far you go down the constitutional path. I hope you go a long way down the constitutional path. The 10th Amendment, is that part of your argument if it does come down to a court battle?
Well, it certainly is. And again, states have always had the power to regulate their professions, including doctors. And so what you have here is a state like Oklahoma that boldly and courageously declares, hey, we're actually going to hold our doctors to the vow that they take, that they're not going to do any harm. And killing innocent human beings is the very definition of doing harms. And so under the 10th Amendment, states retain the right to do those things that are not expressly delegated to the federal government. And this issue here, protecting innocent human life, certainly would fall under that.
And it's marvelous in a sense that it would be fought at the state level. It allows states like Oklahoma or Texas or whatever state to say, hey, we're going to stand up for life. And really, in my opinion, that's what the framers of the Constitution wanted us to have. They wanted us to have state mobility, if you will. In other words, if you live in California and you don't agree with the craziness that's going on in the state of California, yes, you can move to Oklahoma, or yes, you can move to Texas and have some sanity.
That's right. This particular legislation gave the governor everything that she needed, gave the state of Oklahoma everything that it needed to bring this issue back before the United States Supreme Court. It's a tragedy and a shame that the governor took the easy way out. I think she should be held accountable for that, and I think that she should be encouraged to really take a hard look at this and to make sure she gets it right the next time around.
Well, just like the abolition movement, it took decades and decades. It didn't take just a civil war. It led up decades and decades to end slavery. This is a war. You may lose some battles, you may win some battles, but in the end, it is incumbent upon us, this generation, in my opinion, to end the Holocaust, the American-made Holocaust of our time. Harry, thanks. Coming up next, stop the tape, the utter embarrassment of Obama at Hiroshima. Also ahead, economic revival in spite of the 44th president.
Nationwide, we've cut the unemployment rate in half from a peak of 10% during the recession to just 5% today.